Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up towards Norway once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who I've reviewed quite a few beers from now, but this will be the first ever stout that I'm trying from. I don't think I've even tried one of their stouts on tap before, but they have a very good reputation these days within this style bracket. So for this review then we are going to return to Oslo, the capital city of Norway, and we're having a taste of another beer from Amundsen Bryggeri. This one is the Zygoat, which they released at Christmas I believe, but it came out here in Sweden in January through the local and Småsigt assortment I think it's called, and they're describing it as a salted caramel chocolate chip cookie stout. It comes in at 10.5% ABV and the label is very satanic, I have to say, so I really like that. So curious to see how this one turns out. As I said, my first dark beer from Amundsen, and hopefully it turns out to be very, very nice. Always cool to review some Norwegian beers for you as well, because I know that they have some really, really good breweries up there too. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. So as is usual with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Amundsen Bryggeri before. No doubt there will be some more at some point in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Norwegian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Amundsen Bryggeri then, on to my brewery notes here. So Amundsen Bryggeri, as I mentioned to you, are based in Oslo in Norway, and this brewery is part of the Akerhus group, which owns a number of bars and restaurants around Oslo, and the main men in this company are Ole Johan Tollefsen, Bore Jensen and Tom Erik Andreasen. And the first brewery was part of a gastropub in Stortingsgata, and it was just a very small operation. You'll find this pub right next to the town hall in Oslo actually, and I have been in there with me Chico. I never got the chance to film an out and about video, so next time I'm in Oslo we'll do that. But the key man in getting this operation established was Tom Alfred Oimo, and he'd been a home brewer for a number of years before going to work with Amundsen. But the brewery expanded, and by 2015 they were producing around 200,000 litres of beer per year, and they'd become quite established within Norway, having opened up a larger brewery in the Nydalen area. But in 2016 the parent company purchased the property company Halketo Eindom, and with this they acquired the Bjornedivine 14 or Bjornedivine 14. I'm not sure if it will be the same in Norwegian as in Swedish, but this is in the Halketo area to the south of Oslo, and this was turned into a 3,500 square metre brewery, and the brewing there began in late 2016, with the new brewery capacity being around 1 million litres of beer per year. The brewery equipment that they used in there came from Braukon in Germany, and the canning and bottling lines both came from Italy. Apparently the total investment in the site was 16 million Norwegian kroner, and the managing director of this brewery is Jeffrey Jansen van Vuren, and Matthew Thomas and John Hudson are the others involved in the daily running of the bigger brewery. And the artwork that you'll find on the cans from Amundsen, which is really quite distinctive, is designed by the American Peter John de Villiers. So yeah, a brewery that have really made a hell of a good reputation for themselves in terms of hazy IPAs, New England type IPAs and things like this. The what is it called? The Apocalyptic Thunder Juice, if I remember rightly. That's kind of their sort of signature IPA, if you like. A very, very nice beer. And they've been making a lot of dessert stouts recently, the dessert in a can and things like that too. So they really are starting to move into the darker end of the spectrum. I need to try and review one of those for you on the channel at some point soon. But like I say, this is the first stout that I'm having from Amundsen as well. I'm not sure if I've had any as a collaboration, but this is the first solely Amundsen beer. One thing I thought about with this brewery recently as well is that I wonder if the name Amundsen comes from Roald Amundsen, who was he was a Norwegian explorer in the early 1900s, if I remember correctly, and he led the first expedition to the South Pole in like 1911. Or sometime around that, 1911, 1912, and he did something in the kind of north part of the world as well. But yeah, it's something that just struck me before I was actually filming this video when I was thinking about doing it. I just thought rolled Amundsen, maybe that's what it's named after. If you know about that in the comment section below, do let me know in the comment section. It would be interesting to know that. So maybe that's where the name Amundsen comes from. But probably one of the more recognisable Norwegian craft breweries these days. These guys in Lervig are the ones that are exporting quite heavily from Norway. There are some other very, very good breweries up there as well. So yeah, if you get the chance to go to Norway, beautiful country, very nice people, and some very good craft beer these days as well. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one. That's all you need to know about Amundsen Bryggeri for the moment. If you want to learn more, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages as well. So yeah, let's get on and have a taste of this beer then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see it looks very, very satanic. I was almost thinking to keep this this can for review number 2666, because I always like to have quite a satanic beer for the 666 reviews. But yeah, you know, I was just kind of like, I really want to try this one. I want to try my first stout from Amundsen. It's kind of ironic as well, it's released at Christmas. You know, Norway, the home of black metal, and at Christmas time they've got one of the well-known craft breweries releasing a kind of satanic stout almost. But yeah, Zygoat with this one. The goat, obviously one of the symbols of Satan. I can't remember exactly what the deal with that is, but yes, Satanists like the goats and black metal and things. But this one actually has an impressive malt bill in it. The hops used in this one are Chinook, and I've got a list of the malts here as well. So this one has a malt base of Pilsner, Cara Munich 2, Munich Type 2, Special W, Crisp Chocolate, Flaked Oats, Cara Aroma, Roasted Barley, Crisp Brown and Cara Red malts. So there's somewhere, like, is that like 10 malts and just, you know, one hop in this. So yeah, I think this one will be pretty damn impressive. A little 330ml can. Normally, of course, Amundsen release their beers in the 440s, but you know, maybe that's just for the IPAs. I think it's the stouts always tend to be in the little 330s. But yeah, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. We can get rid of the brewery notes now. An Imperial Stout at 10.5% ABV. Oh, you can smell this as soon as you open it up. I'm curious to see whether this one, going by the aroma, I do think this one might have a little bit of flavour essence added to it, because you definitely, it smells pretty much like cookie dough when you open it up, and the only way you can really get an aroma like that out of a beer is with flavour essence. But yeah, it tells you something though, it does smell very, very nice actually. That's really nice. It almost smells a little bit like, you know, Toffifees or Thornton's Toffee or something like that. But yeah, as you can see and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, this one's poured a lovely dark ebony rosewood colour. If I put the light through this, it does have a little bit of a kind of Coca-Cola coloured edge to it. But you know, it's pretty much as black as night. You can see there's no haziness. Or sorry, there's no light getting through this one. Very, very dark. There was a little bit of, maybe a quarter finger of a frothy beige tan head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there, but you know, otherwise it looks really nice and pretty much what you would expect from an Imperial Stout. I really like how this one goes together. I mean, yeah, very, very nice looking beer. So let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we go on. This is the bit that's really exciting me about this beer, the aroma. Oh yeah, straight away when you take this one in, very sweet kind of cookie dough. There's a good bit of vanilla to this one, I think, as well. I've got a feeling that, as I say, I'm not sure, maybe cookie dough has all the sugars and stuff in it, so maybe you can actually put that in the brew straight away, but I've got a feeling just from how strong the aroma is out of this, that it probably is flavour essence that's been added into this one, because it's got the same level of strength as you might get from some of the Omnipollo beers. And I mean, even brewing a beer to suit these flavour essences, getting the base beer right to suit the flavour essence, is a bit of an art unto itself. But I mean, yeah, straight away it's the cookie dough that dominates the aroma in this one. Lots of vanilla in there. Lots of nice chocolate. There's definitely some sweet caramel and biscuity notes in this, which is what you would expect with all of those different malts in there. The chocolate that comes out of this one, to me, you can pick up elements of a darker chocolate in the background, but it is mainly a kind of more milky chocolate. But I think the vanilla elements that are coming out of the aroma are really giving, you know, making the milkier chocolate notes that little bit more prominent actually. I really like how the aroma of this one goes together. I mean, it's a beautiful sweet smelling stout. This, if you like the aromas of the Omnipollo ones, I mean that's the reference point I have at the moment, then this is one that you are going to really enjoy. Lervig, of course, I have had some of the big cakey stouts from Lervig before, the Fear of the Zafia, and I also had the Canadian themed one as well actually. So yeah, it does seem to be a bit of a trend in Norway when I think about it. Both Lervig and Amundsen are doing some very kind of sweet stouts, and I think Servicium might have a few as well. But that's a beautiful, it's a beautiful smelling beer, this one, I have to say. Take a bit of time and just enjoy that. On the hoppy side of things, there's a wee bit of earthiness to it. You can pick up some remnants of floral and grassy character, and you've also got some nice kind of red, fruity qualities to it as well. I like how the whole aroma on this one goes together. I mean, definitely a very big sweet stout rather than anything else. I'm not sure, I don't think you can term this one a pastry stout. I think this one just has to be called a sweet stout. But it really is very, very nice, I have to say. So thumbs up to Amundsen for this one. It's the cookie dough that really dominates everything, that dominates the aroma, but you do have little subtleties of other stuff in there as well. But without further ado, let's have a taste of this one then and see how we get on. This one is the Zygoat, an Imperial Stout at 10.5% ABV, to be specific, a salted caramel chocolate chip cookie stout, and you know, that kind of makes sense when you think about it. There's lovely brown sugar notes to this one as well, but a lot of vanilla, I think, too. Let's get stuck into this. Sláinte, skål. Oh yeah, that's a really, really nice stout. I've noticed on the back here that it says there's also oats and lactose in this one, so you know, that kind of makes sense with it as well. If there's lactose in it, of course, you're going to get a little, the vanilla notes are going to be a little bit more kind of prominent. I always find lactose gives you a little bit of a kind of vanilla vibe to the beer, but this one, I'm actually finding, first impressions of this is that it's a little bit darker towards the back of the palate than I was expecting. I thought this would be a really heavily sweet stout, and it is to some degree, but there is a good little bit of darkness to balance it out too, which is interesting. But yeah, I will say that's a lovely introduction to darker beers from Amundsen. Definitely a good one to choose. I really do need to try some of these dessert in a can ones that they do. That's got to be the next Amundsen review on the channel. But this stout itself is lovely. I mean, where to start with this? There's quite a lot going on in it, to be honest with you. It blankets the middle of your palate and it's very smooth, but you can really feel it drying out a little bit the further you go into the aftertaste. But yeah, it's really lovely and very smooth. It's almost like you've got a kind of slightly woody base to the beer. It's almost like the middle of your palate is just blanketed with kind of woodiness. There's some roasty, kind of black malty qualities sitting on top of that as well. But you know, how do you say, the chocolate and all the other stuff on top of that really just smoothens it out. So you can really feel there's a really nice dark high cocoa chocolate quality to this one. You can feel that mixing in the sort of in the middle of your palate there too. The cookie dough notes, they come out towards the front of the tongue. You've got all the caramel, and it's almost like a kind of Tunnock's caramel wafer, to be honest with you. In the centre of your palate it really feels quite biscuity and cookie-like, and it really reminds me of Tunnock's caramel wafer, but you do have that kind of cookie dough flavour as well. That's really nice. I would have expected a little bit of a stronger, darker brown sugary note right in the very centre of the palate to cover up the booziness, but the cookie notes, the more wafery type brown sugar and things, that really covers it up. I mean, I can really see where they're going with this one with the salted caramel flavour. That comes out really nicely actually. But to me, as I say, it reminds me of Tunnock's caramel wafer from back home in Scotland. But yeah, this is really, it really is a very, very nice beer, this one, you know. Hats off to Amundsen, they've pulled off something really nice here. I'm finding the further you go out from the centre of the palate with this one, that's when you start to get the more chocolatey notes out of this. And again, it feels a little bit milky. You do get a bit of the more milky chocolate out of this one, but then as you reach the kind of extremities of your palate, like the very back, you get the more roasted black malts and the darker, higher percentage cocoa kind of things as well. But I would say it's the salted caramel side of the cookie that dominates the palate in this one than the centre of the tongue. I really like how that all goes together. It's the centre of your palate in this one, there's a lot going on, but it works very, very well. You might get a few woody undertones to this one, and you've also got a few kind of nutty elements to the beer as well. Yeah, if you go to the front corners of your palate and then move in a little bit, you've got some woody notes to it, but you've also, if you go to the centre of the tongue and move forward, you will get a few kind of nutty undertones to the beer as well, but those are very much subtleties. Everything else is, everything, you know, it really is that kind of caramel, wafery, cookie type note in the centre of the palate that dominates the flavour. But I mean, with the name of this beer, that's exactly what you would expect. I really like this one, certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again, but you know, at 10.5%, this is definitely a little bit of a treat beer. You know, it's one that you just have and you sip and enjoy, and it's certainly a really, really enjoyable one. It's an ideal Christmas beer, this. I mean, like I was saying, I think this one was released in Norway in December, but we didn't get it here in Sweden until January. This one was released on like the 2nd or 3rd of January here in Sweden through Systembolaget. But it's a beautiful beer, that, and it really makes me want to try some of the other sweet stouts from these guys. Like I said, I've tried ones from Lervig, and we've got the Omnipollo ones here in Sweden. This beer is just as good as any of those. I really like this. So yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you can get a little bit of earthiness there, but it's kind of minimal, but it is noticeable. As you come further forward along the side of the palate, it smoothens out a little bit. Nice little touch of floral aromaticity on the front corners of the palate, then round the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, and behind the front curve of the palate, you've got that little oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. And this one, the red fruity notes you get out of this are quite nice as well. So yeah, when you take this one in, it's got a little bit of a kind of plummy juiciness to it, a little bit of raisiny sharpness as well, but then it very quickly mellows out. I mean, you get the sharper notes towards the back of that oily part of your, the kind of fruity part of your palate, then it smooths out and it becomes a little bit more sort of blackcurranty, blackberry-ish. There's not really any figgy notes to this one. This one's definitely quite rich and plummy and raisiny in the beginning, and then it sort of matures a little bit more to be blackcurrants and blackberries, and that kind of lingers there into the aftertaste as well. You will notice there's a few darker flavours towards the back of the palate. The further with this one you go into the aftertaste as well, so that's a really nice aspect to this beer too. Actually, I really like that about it. Yeah, this is an awesome one. This is really a beautiful Imperial Stout. There's no two doubts in my mind about that. If you like the dessert series, not saying the dessert series, if you like the sort of dessert cakey type stouts from Lervig Bryggeri, or you like the Omnipollo cakey Imperial Stouts, this one is these ones are definitely on the level with that. So I need to, as I say, I need to try some of these dessert in a can ones from Amundsen the next time around. But a beautiful beer, this one. If you like a sweet stout, you're certainly going to appreciate this one. This one really just ticks a lot of boxes for me. So personally, this is probably one of my favourite stouts I've had in a little while, actually, and it's also got the satanic label, which is always good. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, then the last thing we need to talk about, yeah, definitely a full-bodied beer, this one. Carbonation's very smooth. It's a big oily mouthfeel, this beer, which isn't really surprising. Middle of your palate, the malt base is very, very sweet. It does get a little bit drier the further you go into the aftertaste, but mainly it's a big oily sweet character that you're going to get out of this Imperial Stout. There's a little touch of hoppiness to this beer, but to be honest with you, I think you'd be lucky to get 30 IBUs out of this one. There is a little bit of bitterness from the earthy side of things, and you do get a little bit of roastiness to this beer in the aftertaste, like I say, but I think you would be lucky to get 30 IBUs out of this beer at most. So yeah, there's a little bit of hoppy character in there, and you've got a nice, quite sharp, fruity character to it as well, but it does become more oily and juicy the further you go into the aftertaste too. But it's a beautiful sweet stout, this, and it definitely makes me even more curious to try some of the dessert in a can stouts that I've seen from Amundsen before. So yeah, let's just leave it at that for this one. This one was the Zygoat, a 10.5% salted caramel chocolate chip cookie stout from Amundsen Bryggeri in Oslo in Norway. A beautiful introduction to stouts from them. My first ever stout that I've tried from Amundsen, and I have to say I am impressed. So I'll be keeping an eye out for the next stouts that these guys release. So yeah, let's leave it at that. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Amundsen Bryggeri as well. And hopefully I can review some more from these guys at some point soon. I do want to get up to Norway again and review some of the lesser known breweries and stuff like that. That's something that I really need to do. To go to one of the Norwegian beer festivals, I think, would be pretty awesome too, but we'll need to wait with that and just see how we go. But Norwegian beers, I'm always keeping an eye on, seeing what's coming here to Sweden. So yeah, hopefully I can do more Norwegian reviews for you at some point soon. But yeah, thank you again for watching my reviews, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Zygoat salted caramel chocolate chip cookie Imperial Stout at 10.5% from Amundsen Bryggeri in Oslo in Norway. Slange, skull, catch you guys soon. Cheers.